All right, my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the base PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro. So guys, I downloaded a bunch of games on the original PlayStation today. I was looking at those. Well, obviously I had to download all the new ones that I bought for the PS5 Pro, all the games that people were saying that they were being negative about, and I was just kind of looking at them and I was like, wait a minute, you know, because when I played them on the PS5 Pro, I was like, okay, because I already have those games on PC. I hadn't played them on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, and I was like, gosh dang, man, these guys are going really negative toward the PlayStation 5 Pro. And so I had to see for myself. I had to buy some games. I had to download them. I had to play them. I had to check them out. I had to, you know, see if I could verify what they were saying. And you know what, guys, to my surprise, a lot of the games do look a lot better on the base PlayStation. PSSR in some of these games, while it does add, it's not that it looks worse, it's that it adds a different type of, you know, upscaling that, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, it does. And see, here's where I'm messed up, okay? Because they're gonna say it looks worse, but in my opinion, there are some aspects of it that absolutely don't look as good as the other part. But then there's aspects of the image quality that looks significantly better. And I'm like, what the freak is going on here? Like, obviously when you get into the vegetation, obviously it looks a lot like more, like it breaks up a lot more with the PSSR. But then when you look at like, take Avatar, okay? Avatar, I played through that. I was playing that on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and the overall image quality looked incredible. But then you get to when it starts to get like really foggy, or you get like, or it starts to get to that point where it's like in between daylight and almost night, or it's starting to like the daylight starting to change into nighttime or whatever. You can see like this pixel crawl like all over in the freaking bushes and stuff. Well, on the base PlayStation 5, it literally just looks 1080p. It looks really soft. There's like the textures are all messed up and everything else. It looks bad, but it kind of looks better, I guess. I mean, I guess you could say, I don't know. I still think the PS5 Pro version with PSSR looks significantly better than the base PlayStation 5 on Avatar. When I look over at Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws, I think it just looks better on the PS5 Pro. I do. I think it looks better on the PS5 Pro. It does look all right. It actually looks pretty decent on PS5. So that one there, I'm not even that upset about. That one there, I think it looks good either way. I'm not negative on the PS5 Pro. I'm not negative on the PlayStation 5 version. I think it just looks good either way. Absolutely an incredible experience. When I looked at Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, whoa, man, the base PS5 looks absolutely horrible. I like the way it looks better on PS5 Pro, significantly better. The PlayStation 5 version of Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown absolutely, definitely is, wow, that is such a letdown for that to look the way that it does. That is pretty bad. Like, I do feel bad for everybody on a base PlayStation 5 that owns that game. That really sucks, man. It does look better in the 30 frames per second mode, but gosh dang, that game is very, very, very hard on the eyes, man. That sucks. And I get it. You know, we've seen significantly better looking games running on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. There really is no excuse for that to look the way that it does, but at least the driving's intact and everything else, like the full map, all of that is intact. So if you're just worried about like having a good driving game and stuff like that, at least it delivers that, and I can say that. Another game that I checked out, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It does look better on the base hardware. I'm sorry, it does look better on the base hardware, but it does also look significantly better on the PlayStation 5 Pro when you look at the other parts of the game that go into it. Yes, the vegetation definitely looks pretty hit. It really does. There's no way around that. But when you look at the overall like textures and detail and all of that stuff, you do get significantly higher overall detail with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, obviously, the ray tracing looks a little bit messed up, so I get it. There's some growing pains with the PlayStation 5 Pro. I've went through and I've looked at these games myself, and I can tell you that yeah, you are going to have a downgrade in some of these games, visual quality, but not to the extent that you're thinking. It's not that. It's not that like the games are purposely made to look worse. It's the upscaling technique with using PSSR on some of these higher quality detailed games. It really does kind of affect that overall experience in a way that like yeah, man, I don't get it. Like you look at PSSR on some of these other games that are not using, like say Unreal Engine 5 or not Frostbite, but Snowflake, or some of these other engines that are just highly detailed and they've got a high level of density in them. I find that yeah, PSSR is really struggling with some of that finer detail in like clouds, or you know. Like some of these, the vegetation and stuff like that. It's growing pains, my friend. And you can look at it this way. Like obviously, maybe these get fixed, maybe they don't. Like I've said before, and I do have faith that yes, the PlayStation 5 Pro is definitely more powerful. It would have, honestly guys, it probably would have been better off if all of these developers would have just allowed you to utilize the extra power of the PlayStation 5 Pro and with their next games, or you know, continue to iterate on PSSR if that's something that they really want to use. Because I've seen games from this generation that are PlayStation 5 games that are not getting enhanced for PS5 Pro. I've seen them look significantly better just by utilizing the extra power on tap for the PlayStation 5. I was actually just playing around with Dead Island 2, and thankfully Deep Silver had provided me a PlayStation 5 key for that today. So I was able to look at that, and I'm sitting there looking at that on the PS5 Pro, and I'm like, wow, this just looks amazing. And I don't think it has a PS5 Pro upgrade. I don't think it does. I think it's just PS5 code that is allowed to just use the extra power on tap to enhance that the dynamic resolution and obviously the frame rate and stuff. And it does feel pretty dang good. And it looks fabulous. That's the thing, my friends. Like I can see like a lot of people going from like PlayStation over to PS5 Pro and just instantly like being like seeing like some of these games and being like, whoa, man, that looks bad. Yeah, dude, I used to complain about this stuff all the time. I did. And there is one solution. You could buy a PC and you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff anymore if you spend enough money. But we're talking about a $700 PlayStation 5 Pro that is essentially spec'd at a 1080p to 1440p GPU, entry-level 1440p, high-end 1080p. Like that is what that card is. That is what the GPU in the PlayStation 5 Pro is. And it doesn't matter how many times you twist it or change it or whatever you try to do in your head to try to make you feel like it's a 4K GPU. It just isn't. It's not spec'd there, especially for these newer games that are coming out. Like this is a 1080p to 1440p GPU that is having to utilize PSSR to enhance that overall image quality to make it look better on a 4K display. And that, my friends, is where I am most satisfied with PlayStation 5 Pro, because it actually does look better at 4K. And for me, that's always kind of been a big thing. Like, I don't mind playing a game at 1440p on a 4K display because I feel like it kind of scales evenly enough. It scales enough to where it's like, okay, it looks soft, but it still looks good as long as I've got all my detail and everything else in there. So when I look at what PlayStation 5 Pro is actually bringing, I'm like, yes, that looks pretty good. And as we see new games come out, we'll start to have a better understanding of how PSSR and some of these other techniques are actually going to work going forward. We might actually even be able to utilize FSR4. Some developers might be able to utilize FSR4 versus what they're using with PSSR. You got to understand that PSSR is Sony's very own direct machine learning algorithm that is built generally for their games, but obviously it's in their SDK for third-party developers to utilize. And third-party developers just might not be getting the same exposure or the same or getting, you know, being able to utilize it like maybe Sony's first party or second party like Square Enix or something, because we obviously have seen Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and that looks incredible. Whatever they're doing with PSSR is absolutely making that experience better. So when I look back and I look at all the games that everybody's complaining about right now, these are all firmly third-party games. Even a game like gosh dang it, what is the name of that one? Project, or not Project Eve, that's what it was called, but oh no, I can't remember it. Something Stellar Blade, a second party, essentially a second party game, got way more exposure to being able to utilize PSSR in a better way. So yeah, there's those games that are going to be the outliers, that are going to be like your older third party games. Like you got to understand, these guys are bolting on PSSR onto games that were built, you know, pre-PSSR even being in existence, and they're putting this out there to try to upgrade this stuff. Well, I can say in every game that I've tested, PSSR absolutely makes textures look better, absolutely makes, you know, like a lot of the other stuff look better, but it does fall short in some areas. So that is something that I would like to see fixed. But I also, you know, don't like the way that a lot of the other content creators are going about this. It's like, come on, guys. We know it doesn't look that great. Let's be constructive about the way we're going to criticize, you know, like PlayStation or third-party developers, because it's like, man, none of us know how to build a damn video game. And if we could, we probably would. So if we want to build our own damn games, then we should go do that instead of like being completely assholes to the people that are making these games and trying to make something like PSSR work on your 1080p to 1440p console. You have to look at it that way. Like, I get it. Like, you want your perfection. You feel like your $700 is like this amazing like pot of money that you spent for a console. I get it. Like, I get it. It makes sense. $700 is a lot of money. But come on, guys. It's going to get better. It will get better. So, like I said, you can always buy a PC and they're like $2,500, and then you don't have to worry about checkerbirds or fuzz or blur or any of that stuff. You can literally buy your way into the best visual quality that you've ever wanted to see in your life. So, until you're ready to do that, we're going to have to make our PlayStation 5 Pro work, and we're going to have to like be constructive in our criticism and not be jerks, because clearly they're trying to make it work and they're trying to make things better. But yeah, I don't know. I think just the whole hate rage and everything like that is not really going to do us any favors. It's probably just making developers hate us, and then in turn, yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's not a winning solution to try to do what we're doing. So, all right, guys, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.